My name's Kirsten. I'm originally from South Africa, but I live in Swansea now. I've been there for 13 years, maybe. I remember going to one of the nightclubs we hung out at. It was our local proper nightclub, and I remember sitting there, and there was a group of people in there that had formed a circle, and they were doing this really weird dance, kind of trance stuff, and this guy in the middle was standing there, and he had bleach blonde hair, and he just stopped, and he looked straight at me, and he walked straight out of that circle, and he came straight up to me, and he just started doing this really weird thing at me. It was enough to scare me and my friend that we actually kind of got up and left, and it kind of freaked me out. But a few weeks later, it's when I remember being asleep, and I experienced my first, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but it was very real to me, but I felt the wind blowing, and I felt someone was coming into this room, and I felt this presence above me, and it just stood above me, and it terrified me. It absolutely terrified me. But I was asleep. I was actually asleep. But in my sleep, I felt like I could fight this thing off. I could feel it. I could smell it. I could taste it. It was so real, and I was terrified. And even though I didn't want to acknowledge God, I was calling out to God somehow. But I woke up, and I remember waking up, and my heart was pounding. I was thinking, thank goodness that was a dream. I mean, that can't be real. And then, of course, a few days later, you start thinking it was just made up. And that was the start of it for me. Not that I really recognized it as anything, but it's continued throughout my life, especially at times where there are big changes. My next big time was coming to London, but before I came to London, I was really attacked in my sleep, really, really badly. Every single night I felt these presences coming in. I felt them sitting on top of me. I felt them doing all these strange things, and it scared me. It absolutely terrified me. Again, somehow calling out to God, but not accepting it. And then I came to London, and I remember arriving with a backpack thinking, great, I was 26 and I had dreams I wanted to follow. I had no responsibilities. I didn't have to worry about family or kids. But I wasn't a Christian, and I loved my life in London. It was such an adventure. And I became a permanent TV extra, and I started meeting a whole lot of people again. And then again, I was introduced to people who were spiritual. I never really dug really deep into the whole spiritual thing, but I was starting to dabble, and I started using it as being told, well, if you want answers, ask, and it will turn one direction or it will turn another. And then all of a sudden I was addicted. I needed to know more. It's like I felt like I had this guide, that I had answers to my life every day, and I'd ask something that I didn't even know about. I was asking to the universe, but it's only now that I look back and I'm thinking, what was I actually asking? What was I even asking to? I was opening my soul to something that I didn't even know about, because it just seemed that that's what you should do. And so I carried on, and you know, I went to all these things where people said, oh, I can talk to the dead, and I can talk to your cousins, and it became so, you know, something's not right, and you know you're not satisfied, but you can't help wanting to know more. It's almost like an addiction, really. And there's signs. It's like there's continuously signs along the way, and you start taking these signs of, oh, the universe is speaking to me, and all this is happening, and you start making impulsive decisions, and you start making decisions that you think are right, and they're not actually right. And then I was walking in London, but at the same time, I was searching for the truth. I really, really had this desire to want to make truth. I needed to understand the bigger picture. Nothing quite made sense. I'd been given little snippets the whole way of my life, but nothing made sense. And then I was walking on a Saturday morning, and I remember it was a very busy morning, and I was on the side of the street, and I remember looking at this guy across the road, and he was like crossed the street and just walked straight towards me, and it's like he almost had a glow around, and I was kind of like looking back to think, is this guy looking at me? You know, and he walked it's like he focused straight on me from a fair distance and just went, and I saw him coming, and he gave me this book in my hand, and I looked and I thought, Christ, I thought, thanks, Bible basher, you know. It just reminded me of my time 17, when I was back being 17, 18, living with my sister and resenting Christians pushing the Bible in your face and trying to convert you on the spot. But 2 weeks later, I got on a bus in London, and 2 Brazilian women got on the bus, and they came and sat behind me, and they dropped a leaflet on my lap. And again, it was to do with Christ. It was to do with Steps to Christ, obviously being Seventh-day Adventist, and then I had another leaflet talking about the Seventh-day Adventist. And then I have a TV extra job, and I met a woman on set. And we got talking most of the day. It was a very long shoot, and we had a lot of time to chat, and she was talking to someone else. But the way she was talking, I felt like she was talking to me. It was really striking a chord, and I remember thinking, this woman's in my mind. It's kind of freaky. And we ended up catching the train back, and we got talking, and I was talking about Jesus. That was a strange thing. When I think back, I was actually talking about Jesus, but I was talking about Jesus as this, in a completely different aspect as to the way I see him now. And she just looked at me and she said, you do know why I'm here? I was like, no. She said, I'm here to get your faith back. I said, in what? And she said, in him. I was given The Great Controversy, which again is quite a significant book for me, because when I read the book, it suddenly explained to me everything I had been looking for and searching and trying to understand. It's like it took all the pieces of my life that I tried to understand and found it elsewhere, and it suddenly made sense. If you are a spiritualist person, you believe in spirits. That's what we do. We believe in something we don't see. We believe in the realm. We believe in something out there. It's only when you become a Christian that you just realize how dangerous it actually is, because it doesn't actually look dangerous. You're plugging into things you don't understand, and it's difficult to say to someone who's a spiritualist not to do it. I understand where you're coming from. I do. I know it's exciting. It's appealing. It's, hey, why go and be a Christian when you can be a spiritualist and do it for yourself? But I think if you really, really were honest with yourself and actually take a step back and really think about it, you're not satisfied. You're not satisfied because you don't actually have the answers. You really don't. But the difference is, it's not me trying to do it for myself. It's putting it in someone else who knows about my life, who knows what the future's going to hold, who knows what's good for me. He intervenes. He will protect you. And as tempting as it was on the other side and appealing, it never offered me that. It never gave me that satisfaction. I never got proof. I just got told, well, try this new book or pray to the universe. And, you know, Satan's not stupid. He will give you little bits of what you want, but he doesn't want you to have satisfaction. He wants you to keep dabbling in stuff that you don't understand. So I say to you, if you are questioning, what have you got to lose trying the other side? What have you got to lose challenging God? Asking him, well, if you say you're real, then show me a sign. He did it for me. And I look back and I think, I wish I had known that 20 years ago when my dad was dying. I wish I had that satisfaction instead of wasting 20 years of my life, letting go of all the gifts God gave me. But the best part is, it doesn't matter where you go or what you walk away from. It's never too late with God. He restores you. He reminds you of your gifts. He cleans you up. Ask him. If you're questioning, ask him. He can move mountains if that's what it needs and if that's what it takes. You're not going to lose what you feel. You're just going to feel peace, because the power is no longer with you. It's given to someone who really, truly knows everything about you.